Big news! Sephora is now on Uber Eats. So if you find yourself facing a beauty emergency, like needing a last-minute gift, or you're just out of your favorite mascara, again, don't panic. We got you. Order now and get $10 off on Sephora orders of $50 or more on the Uber Eats app. Order now. Offer ends October 30th. One order per customer. Additional terms apply. See app for availability. Delivery fees may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original, which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to tell you that Michelob Ultra, the official beer partner of the NBA, is bringing NBA fans closer than ever this season with chances to win great prizes, including courtside tickets. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Courtside 25 to 26. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 plus. Begins on October 1st, 2025 and ends on June 30th, 2026. Multiple entry periods. See official rules at MichelobUltra.com/courtside for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana makes car selling fast and easy from start to finish. Enter your license plate or VIN and get a real offer in seconds, down to the penny. If you accept, Carvana will come pick up your car from your driveway. Or you can drop it off at one of our car vending machines. Either way, you get paid instantly. It's fast, transparent, and 100% online. Car selling that saves your time. That's Carvana.
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Hey, all you heroes, hawks, heralds, crows, pirates, and wardens. Welcome to the Dragon Age Lorecast, where we unpack, discuss, and galaxy brain about all the lore behind the Dragon Age series.
We are so excited to bring you this podcast. Every episode, we'll be talking about a different topic in the Dragon Age universe, from character deep dives to exalted marches and elven gods. We will cover it all.
There will be spoilers. And always remember, swooping is bad.
Hello, and welcome to the Dragon Age Lorecast, where we talk about Dragon Age and its lore. I am one of your hosts, Austin, also known as Teacup.
And I'm your other host, Shelby or Shecup.
And that's right, and we are here for another patron chat. And so we have our lovely patrons here with us. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and we will start with LVCC13.
Hello, I am LVCC13 and I need more caffeine.
And we have the Crimson Knight.
Hey, I'm Steven, or the Crimson Knight.
All right, and then last but not least, we do have Capricorn Tower, who is currently having mic issues. He is here, and he's happy about it. He's happy to be here.
Hello?
There you are.
It's me, Capricorn Tower. I'm alive.
Yay!
He's alive!
All right. Well, I'm so glad that you all are here, and we're going to have an awesome time talking about what I thought when I made this decision was a no-brainer. But apparently, there's a lot of debate about it.
Well, I mean, I would say it's a I feel like there are a couple different talking points. Some of us softies out here are all going to be on the same page, I do believe. But just to introduce the topic a little bit, we are talking about whether or not you should make Emmrich a Lich or not in Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And so before we get into that discussion, I wanted for the listeners just to give you guys a simple overview of what a Lich is. I know it's kind of new in Dragon Age lore, and so just a basic 101. Basically, a Lich is like not anybody can be one. It's like a super high rank in Navarra. And so there is the Lich Lords of the Grand Necropolis, who are necromancers who have transformed themselves into liches and oversee the rituals to induct other mages into their ranks. But really, their whole purpose is they are the protectors of the Grand Necropolis, and they protect it against anything that really threatens the Grand Necropolis or just like creation in general. So like fade things, demons, like all of those kinds of things. That's their job to protect. They also, it's like the best, most hallowed rank in the Morn Watch, which is part of the Mortalitasi. It gets very confusing with the hierarchies here. But as we know from Emmrich's quest line, A, not everybody can become a Lich. B, if you are a candidate to become one, you get vetted over many years. You've got to do a lot of tests. You've got to go through a lot of rituals to make sure you are actually fit to become one. The qualifications by which you become a Lich are pretty vague. You just kind of have to figure it out yourself. And for Emmrich, especially, he is afraid of dying. He's afraid of death. And so that's one of the things that he has to accept, that people die in order to become a Lich. And so he has to make peace with that over the course of his arc in Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Either way you choose, really, in my opinion, he has to wrestle with that fact. It's just a fact of life. So that's kind of what a Lich is, what Emmrich has to go through, etc. And I also want to give a blanket statement here. The game has been out for a year, almost 51 weeks. We're going to be spoilering in this episode. This episode is going to be full of spoilers. So if you are going to be upset by that, just turn it off now. And with that, I think we can get started.
All right. Well, I guess let's just, who wants to go first? Who wants to make their argument for should you Lich or not Lich Emmrich? To Lich or not Lich? That is the question. Lizzie.
I have another question. Are we assuming that we've romanced Emmrich, or is this a non-romanced Emmrich? Because my answer changes.
Dealer's
Either
choice.
one, give both reasons, whatever. I don't care.
Okay. For me, personally, I think both make sense for his character. I think it really depends on your rook. For me, though, a romanced rook, I cannot see Emmrich becoming a Lich if you have romanced him as your rook. Just because, like, you know how much Manfred means to Emmrich. And just with that alone, regardless of the romance, honestly, it's really hard for me to wrap my brain around him giving up Manfred. Even though in my first playthrough, I did choose the Lich route. I honestly kind of think it was the wrong decision because he's not conquering his fear that way. He's avoiding his fear and he's giving up a huge part of who he is. And then I lost Manfred and I was devastated. So I was like, next time, no, we're not doing this again. We're gonna definitely choose not to make him a Lich this time. And I liked that better. I think it made more sense for his character, honestly.
I do kind of want to complicate the idea that he's running away from his problems if you let him become a Lich. Not that I disagree. I definitely thought that at first too. But, you know, the more that I've sat with the game and thought about it, I've been thinking, well, he is kind of dying either way. To become a Lich, he is sacrificing so much of his life, and he is sacrificing his ability to, in a way, meaningfully connect with people because everyone's going to die instead of him. So I think it does require you to kind of come to terms with your own mortality in a way. It's just it's just two different paths. With becoming a lich, you come to terms with your mortality by becoming immortal and losing that mortality that way. And then the other one is staying human and then kind of having the mystery of what happens when you die question. So I really can't see it going either way. In my run, I kept Manfred alive. I don't have super strong feelings about Manfred personally, but I don't know. I was just like, oh, he's fun. You get to play rock, paper, scissors with him. I don't want him to die. It was more of like a, do I want Manfred to still be at the crossroads or not question. So I don't know if I took it very seriously, which is funny because I was kind of flirting with Emmrich at the beginning, and then I was like, I don't know how I feel about this relationship with this rook, so I ended up abandoning that. But yeah, I guess that's my take. I really can see it going either way.
But is he living though, or just existing as a lich? Honestly, I think he's just existing. I don't think you're really living at that point. I mean, you are trying to serve a higher purpose, which is admirable, but you're not living. You don't really have emotions. You don't have true enjoyment of anything anymore.
I think that's a fair point, but I also think, it is like his life's goal. It is his, like, the pinnacle of his career that he's cared so much about for, decades now. So like for him, he probably would say that, yeah, it is living. I've fulfilled everything I worked toward. So I think that complicates it a little bit too.
To kind of throw in a thing here into the running away from his problems, I don't think he is necessarily running away from his problem when he becomes a lich. I think he does solve the fear of his own death in there, but his fear just transfers. He now fears the death of everyone around him. And you really see that in a romance to Rook, who romanced a lich, Emmrich. There's a big fight that they have, basically, where he's like, you can't go, let me go. Like, I'm the lich, I'm immortal. Like, even though I'm pretty sure it's like Tolkien immortal, where like you endure, but he can still like be killed. Unclear. And your rook can respond to him like, I will not let your fear of death stop me from doing the right thing. So I just think that's interesting. I think it could be argued that he's moving the problem. He's not running from it. He's just moving it.
There's one line to me. Like I've only played through the game once, but I saved Manfred in that game. And there's one line to me in that playthrough that basically made the choice for me that if I ever decided to play the game again, I'm never making him a lich. And that's when you get back to the Watchtower and you're asking him how Manfred is doing and how, if he's all right with the decision he makes. He says, I wouldn't change anything for the world. He saved Manfred. He gave up his one opportunity to be a lich, and he has no regrets about it. Like, that to me just shows that, in my opinion, saving Manfred is really the only choice that I could make.
I kind of agree, because for me, I think Manfred is his son. Like, Manfred is his child for all intents and purposes. And like for me, before I had Clay, I was like, yeah, of course we're gonna save the guy's kid. But now I'm like, I have so many more feelings about it because I've had a kid, because I'm a parent. But I just kind of feel like when you become a parent, you like that becomes the most important thing in your life is the child, but also your career becomes less important because you've got this other thing to look out for. You've got this being, this child that you're responsible for. And I think that that's part of it for Emmrich, is that especially also the fact that he's now, for the first time, probably in his whole life, spending a significant time away from Navarra, away from the Grand Necropolis. I think that some of those things have become a little bit less important to who he is. And there are other things like Manfred, like Rook, like, this whole team that become more important.
The difference between what you think you want and what you think is best for you and what actually is. He thinks that being a lich is going to solve his fear and it's going to be perfect. He thinks it's his purpose. It's not. His purpose is being a teacher. That is his purpose. And that is what he's so brilliant at. I love how if you're part of the Morn Watch, you can talk about how, oh my gosh, you're the professor whose lecture I went to that I absolutely loved. And he takes those opportunities to teach you, even if you're not part of the Morn Watch. And if you show interest, goes straight into teacher mode. And I say this as a teacher, that is, ask anyone who hangs out with me. If I start explaining anything, I go immediately into teacher mode. It's literally what I was supposed to be doing this entire time. And it's the difference between maybe he might still have a little bit of that as a lich. He'll have the opportunities to teach, but they're kind of a secret. He loses all the other things that he worked for when he becomes a lich. Everyone in the lighthouse knows because he shows them his true self. But if he's walking around in the Grand Necropolis after a certain amount of time, he's going to be covered up because it's a certain level of people who know what a lich is. He's going to lose. Eventually, he is going to die. They're going to have to say something like, oh, Professor Emmrich Volkarin died XYZ time. And then if they're lucky enough, they get high enough in the ranks, future students or people or whatever would know who he was, that he's still around, that he's a lich. But it's not like every single person in the Morn Watch knows. Rook didn't know, and they're in the Morn Watch.
That's true. That's a good point. And I agree that his purpose is teaching, and he no longer gets to do that if he becomes a lich. He doesn't get to teach his classes anymore. He doesn't really even get to informally teach because all of the liches are on his level. It's not like he's going to be having conversations with all the other people in the necropolis. It's just going to be him and a bunch of people who probably were basing it off of Johanna. They all think they're better than each other. So what is the point really for him?
Yeah, I think that's a compelling point. And the way that it's framed within the game, at least, it kind of seems like the liches do just segregate themselves off from the affairs of mortal life completely. I don't even think he would walk around the necropolis anymore. I think he's functionally become a god at that point. And just how do you even relate to people in the same way anymore? So there is a sort of fundamental sadness to the lich route that I think is there and is the thing that does kind of steer me more towards keeping Manfred alive, because it just seems so lonely, just completely isolating yourself from everyone else. And that's kind of where I fall down on a lot of these things. Back in Inquisition, my Inquisitor's a mage, but when I got to the Well of Sorrows, I was like, I'm not drinking that shit. No, I don't want it. There's something about that I was like, this is going to fundamentally change me, who I am as a person and how I'm able to relate to other people, that I just cannot even conscious the thought of doing that. And that is still kind of how I played my Rook too. I was just like, this is too much, too much power.
The word you used when you used isolation reminded me of something from Eric Erickson's theory of psychosocial development for kind of where Emmerich's age is. However, I do think, Shelby, it's closing in on that time for that mid-break.
So I think you can go ahead and do your theory unless you think it's going to take a long time, or you can go to the mid break. Either one, it doesn't matter to me. So I'm leaving that up to you.
Let's have a cliffhanger. So we'll go to the middle of the show.
This episode is brought to you by Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 is the ultimate all-out warfare experience. Rip through the skies in aerial dogfights. Demolish your surroundings for a strategic advantage. Harness complete control over every action and movement using the kinesthetic combat system. Drop into multiplayer with your squad, or fight furiously as a member of the Dagger 1-3 squad in a gritty, adrenaline-fueled single-player campaign where you'll defend a world on the edge of collapse.
It's the Smucker's Uncrustables podcast with your host, Uncrustables. Okay, today's guest is rough around the edges. Please welcome Crust.
Thanks for having me.
Today's topic, he's round with soft, pillowy bread.
Hey.
Filled with delicious PB&J.
Are you talking about yourself?
And you can take him anywhere.
Why'd you invite?
And we are out of time.
Are you really cutting me off?
Uncrustables are the best part of the sandwich. Sorry, Crust.
This episode is brought to you by Marqeta. When it comes to your payments provider, you can't afford to compromise. Marqeta's modern payment solutions flex with your business without the trade-offs. Stable and agile, secure and innovative, scalable and configurable. If they say you can't have it all, don't believe them. Your business demands more. Choose a payments provider that delivers more. Choose Marqeta. Visit marqeta.com/Spotify to learn more.
That is uncharacteristically wise of you.
Yes, well, don't let it get around. I have a reputation.
We hear odd stories of Templars in the Imperium, Dorian.
All true.
I haven't even told you what I've heard.
Doesn't matter. All true. Particularly the part with the grapes and feathers.
Oh, I was leading towards that one, actually.
Please, go on. First Talon. What? Seeing if you've got the hang of your new title yet.
Right, me. First Talon.
If you join the Wardens, you could become the first Warden who's also First Talon.
The first Talon Warden.
Or First Talon First Warden.
Is that the first Talon who is a Warden, or the first Talon First Warden?
So many possibilities.
All right, welcome to the middle of the show where we take time to thank our patrons, like all the patrons we have here with us. If you'd like to join us on Patreon and come on these awesome chats, you can do so at DA Lorecast or patreon.com/DA Lorecast. You can find that link in the episode description. You can find that on our website, cupspodcasting.com. It's everywhere. You can find it and support us that way. Another great way to support us, let me rephrase that. Another great way to support us is to leave us ratings and review on Apple or Spotify. If you leave us 5 stars and some kind words, we will read it out on a future episode of the show. And then the last thing that I have is that to come join us on Discord. Come hang out with us on Discord. That link, again, is found in the episode description, and it's found in every episode description. And it's also found on our website, thecupspodcasting.com. You can come hang out with us, hang out with all the patrons, and just chat about Dragon Age or pets or any kind of crazy things. You have a sucky day at work, come and tell us, and we hang out and do that. And with that, that's all I have for the middle of the show. And so let's get back into it.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least that was the plan. Except now the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Every story you love, every invention that moves you, every idea you wished was yours, all began as nothing. Just a blank page with a blinking cursor. asking a simple question. What do you see? Great ideas start on Mac. Find out more on apple.com/Mac.
No one should have to choose between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Purina is helping to create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters through the Purple Leash Project, so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
This reminds me of a story. Shocking. It's about an impossibly handsome dwarf and his friend who got crowned King of the Nugs.
A Nug King? Really?
It's not as good as it sounds. Nugs mostly just shit on the floor and roll in it. Welcome to the deep roads.
Is it me, or is this the slowest lift ever constructed?
It's better than climbing down.
I could do with some music. Something with a flute.
How about we skip this one? Send your man instead.
How about I shove a canary up your coal mine?
Oh, you fear barbarians will swoop down upon you.
Yes, swooping is bad.
All right, I teased this before the middle of the show. So, Eric Erison's theory of psychosocial development, it has a lot of stages. It has a lot of things that goes through. But the stage for 40 to 65, which is probably roughly where Emmrich is generativity versus stagnation. And so what I think is interesting about this is generativity involves making a positive and lasting impact on the world, nurturing and caring for others, such as raising children, mentoring younger individuals, contributing to one's community through meaningful work or projects. Stagnation is a lack of contribution to society or the well-being of others. Self-centeredness, a focus on one's own needs and desires, feelings of unfulfillment, detachment, and lack of purpose. I think you could make an argument that becoming a Lich fits in both of these categories for Emmrich. And I think it really hinges on what he does after the events of the Veilguard. Because obviously we can talk about like becoming a Lich could be self-centered. Like he's abandoning Manfred, who he's built this relationship with. He's abandoning all of his loved ones because they'll die and he will outlast them. But they become Liches to preserve like magical knowledge and to be there for powerful magical rights. So you could argue that he is contributing to his community. He is becoming there. The other question that I want to kind of lead into the second half with is like, who is Rook to make this decision? As I was thinking about this, I feel the same way that I do about in Baldur's Gate with the decision to save or let Will's dad die. And like, why is there not an option to, like, in that game, I'm like, why is there not an option to say, Will, what do you want? This is your life. And that's where I'm at with kind of Emmrich. And I think it's a little better with Emmrich because Emmrich kind of turns to you and says, like, what do I do? I don't know what to do.
I'd say not to break the fourth wall here, but the protagonist, that's who Rook is. That's why they get to make the decision.
I know. It's a fun thought experiment, Lizzie.
That is kind of one of my major qualms with the Veilguard, though, is because I don't understand why Rook is the leader. Like, it hasn't really been sold to me that he's the linchpin of this whole group. You know, blah, blah, blah. They needed more writing time. We've beat that horse to death. But yeah, it is sort of this thing where I'm like, this would be a lot more interesting if there was sort of like instead of having this very visible, they like you gauge, there's more of like a hidden up or down, like friendship, rivalry almost thing going on based on your choices that, you know, you can't see, so it's harder to manipulate. And then when you get to those key decisions based on your decisions prior to that, it has influenced the growth of that character. That's, you know, I think that's sort of the next step that a lot of these games need to go into to kind of bring it onto like an industry level. And, you know, we've had like small aspects of that before in Dragon Age. Like in Origins, you have your sort of hidden metric with Liliana and whether or not she becomes hardened. And there's certainly like smaller indie games that have really done this. Life is Strange 2 really is all about that mechanic and sort of how your decisions are influencing another person and their growth as a human being. So I think it would be really interesting to, in the future to really take that into account and not make it so protagonist dependent.
Right. And I think there is a way, like even within the Veilguard, that they could have done this. I think this would have probably made a lot of players mad. But like there are times of like because Rook saved Minrathous, Nev decided to do this. Like I think there are points of like because you had this point, because you picked X dialogue when you placed this in here, Emmrich has decided to pursue his place of being a lich or something like that. I think they really wanted to not deal with player agency that much, and I think people would have been mad. AC Shadows did a kind of thing where it tells you like when you choose dialogue, it's like this will have a profound effect on this character what decision you make. So it kind of warns you. But yeah, I think that could have.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was about to say, that's when games will get really good again, when developers stop worrying about making people mad and just tell the damn story they want to tell. And that's not going to happen as long as they're under these big industries. Once we get back to indie gaming developers making games that become really, really big again, that's when we're going to get decent games again.
But the shareholders, Lizzie, we have to care about the shareholders' bank accounts.
Fuck them sideways. They obviously need it if that's all they're caring about.
As a shareholder in a major pharmaceutical distributor,
because of your job, don't play like we're out here making bukus of money first.
No, it's true. It's true.
What was your point?
Oh, there wasn't any point.
Okay.
I want everyone on the pod.
What's the point there?
I want the listeners to know that I placed myself within Arlathan Forest for this episode for peaceful vibes. That was what I was trying to cultivate here.
I don't think Arlathan Forest has been peaceful for thousands of years.
It looks peaceful.
Not to mention with the Agent of Chaos sitting in front of it, it doesn't do much good.
Boom, you're just lucky Kolka's not here. You're just so lucky that only one of us extremely crazy people are here tonight.
Me? An Agent of Chaos? Nah.
I'm just not going to comment.
I think like just coming into, I go into like that. Obviously, when I first picked, I was like, well, I can't give up Manfred. But the more I thought about it, the more I come to the point of like, I think if I was younger when I played this game, I would be more in line with the like, okay, like, don't give up your dream, that kind of thing. But just where I'm at in life, I'm like, none of that matters. Career goals don't matter. Like, your family is what matters. The people you are around, who you love, like, and I personally think that, I don't know if a Lich can regret, but I think that Emmrich would end up regretting not bringing back Manfred.
I just kind of feel like, yeah, it's his dream, but also like we can want the wrong things. We can care about the wrong things in life.
Isn't that like
good?
I was gonna say, isn't that the like moral of every Hallmark holiday movie?
I mean, right? Like, okay, you always have the big, high-powered corporate executive who only cares about making money and not seeing his family on the holidays, and then the unsatisfied, unhappy wife goes to the countryside and meets a man who does care about his family and his children and whoever, and they fall in love. Yes, you're exactly right. I think Emmrich is the same way, although you see him move from the person, and to be fair, I don't think Emmrich was ever like the uncaring CEO who only cares about work. Like, he very much cares about the people around him. But I think that he does over the course of the game realize, hey, maybe work isn't everything.
I do think it would be interesting just to get more information on the Liches. And I think if we had gotten that sort of background, that would have helped to sort of deepen the complexity of the decision. And I don't want to like sell Emmerich's storyline short because I think it is probably the best written out of everyone's companion side quest stuff. But I think in order to sort of like hit the heights of like a Cole decision where you're like, really, what do you do? Like, do you let him become a human? Do you let him stay a spirit? Like that one's like to me, a very morally gray decision. Like there's no like good or bad option in my opinion there. I mean, obviously some people might disagree, but I think in order to hit that height, we needed to know more about the Liches, what they do. Like mostly we just know that they're kind of spooky, and I guess have something to do with maintaining the balance between the spirits and the veil or something, question mark. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I agree. I agree.
At the very least, they let a extremely powerful demon just be trapped and chill out in the necropolis.
Well, true. Good point. I also, this is kind of one of my issues with Veilguard. And it's kind of that I feel like Veilguard insists upon its own lore. Like it cares so much about, and maybe caring is not the right word, but like the lore of Veilguard, there's so much new stuff that's added. And like I get that there needs to be some new stuff because we're going to new places. But just like with the Lich stuff specifically, like we never got anything ever about that in the history of anything Dragon Age ever until this game. And so that, along with just some other things similar to that, is kind of like, okay, well, you guys wrote this completely new thing into it, whereas if we had gone off of things that already existed in the lore and expanded on that, maybe this could have been something more interesting. Like maybe we could have talked about the Mornwatch Mortalitasi propping up King Marcus Pentagast and just like ruling through him. Like we could have explored that more. Like what would Emmerich's reaction to that be? You know, there could have been something that went deeper and connected to past games. But for whatever reason, Veilguard insists upon only being connected to itself, I feel.
I think we know how Emmrich feels about that, though, considering he's like, shh, don't tell anyone. We've been keeping it a secret.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think that's a really good point, and I think that this is where the point of like with the Veilguard, where I get kind of frustrated with the like Mortalitasi, because any other like sense of undead in Dragon Age has always been connected to like possession, spirits possessing corpses and skeletons and other things like that, and so there's always been a sense of evil. Like the blight itself creates more like corpses to be possessed. Like it causes that within itself. And so to come back and see, like when I have playing all the games, see that Emmrich wants to become a Lich, which I'm not only drawing on Dragon Age experience, but drawing on like what Liches are across fantasy universes everywhere. I'm like, no, this is an evil decision. No one should be undead and powerful. I mean, I think lore-wise it is not that black and white, but like that's kind of where, when you hear the terms, it's where you go to.
I kind of wonder if like part of the reason why you lose your like emotions and things like that when you become a Lich, it's reminding me very much of the spirit pretending to be the divine in Inquisition. I wonder if it's really that, no, the person actually dies, but a spirit inhabits your body with all of your memories. And that's why they don't have emotions anymore, because spirits don't typically have emotions. Cole would be the exception to that rule. So maybe it's that either way, Emmrich might die with that. So maybe he's not even really there anymore. And it's just a spirit pretending to be him.
The question is like, spirits in lore are, yes, they don't have emotions because they are emotion. Further, though, I would push back in a way of kind of saying, like, do not the spirits that become the Evanuris show in motion before they have physical forms?
Oh, that's true. But then we're getting into the whole, like, why was the Maker displeased with his first children kind of a thing. And that's a whole other episode.
That is a whole other episode. One day, Shelby will let me loose on my entire Chantry time. One day.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Every time I start talking about the Chantry, you're always like, oh, well, we need to move on.
Okay. I don't have a response.
Let's just do a quick poll before we kind of close. We'll just say, like, we'll go around of just like, what do you think is the quote unquote right decision? We'll just do a gut response. And we'll start with whoever I pick first, and we'll go with Shelby.
I knew you were going to make me go first as soon as you said, whoever I decide. I think that he should choose Manfred for all the reasons I've said thus far in the episode. Thank you. The end.
All right, I'm just going to let whoever wants to go next go next.
Well, I think I made my point clear that, like, my choice is saving Manfred.
Same. As interesting as the whole concept is, and even though it's what I picked the first time, I would not choose that again for just in general how I play my rooks. I think that having him stay human and saving Manfred is more true to his character development. At least how I play it.
Yeah, I mean, my gut reaction is to just go with keeping Manfred alive and not doing that level of I'm too Sarah coded. Like I'm like, that's weird. Don't do the creepy shit.
Yeah, I think we are actually all in agreement of my gut reaction is always to kind of like keep Manfred and do that. If you've got a different thing and you're listening to this episode, let us know. We're always good for that. I have strong opinions on all of the end choices you can make for the Veilguard companions, except for Harding's, because I just don't care. So maybe we'll keep going with all of them. What do you do? Who dies in the assault? What do you do with the Griffins? Do you keep the archive spirit? All great questions. I have strong opinions on all of them. All right, we'll let the patrons, I'm in a weird mood today. We'll let the patrons, we'll go around and let you all plug whatever you got going on, let people know where to find you, and we'll start in reverse order. So we'll start with Capricorn Tower.
That's me, Capricorn Tower, or Nick. Yeah, I just kind of hang out on the Discord. I've been getting into Final Fantasy 14, so my icon is now a Hrothgar, so that's fun.
All right, and then the Crimson Knight.
Hey, I'm Steven or the Crimson Knight, and you can find me on Discord.
LVCC 13.
I am LVCC13, and you can find my voice in the Avengers audio drama on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a few other places that I'm not entirely sure what they are, but I know my voice is on there in that lovely audio drama.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. We always enjoy these patron chats. And thank everyone for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. You can find us on Twitter at DA Lorecast.
If you have any lore questions, topics to unpack, or side character suggestions, join our Cups Podcasting and More Discord server. It's easily the best place on the internet. You can also support us financially through our Patreon. You can find us there on patreon.com/DragonAgeLorecast.
The Dragon Age Lorecast is part of the Robots Radio Network. For more information about the Robots Radio Network, join the Discord server via the link in our episode description.
If you enjoyed the show or learned something new today, please subscribe, leave us a review, and join the Patreon. And if you enjoyed our intro and outro music, give a big thank you to Pipe Man Studios. Thank you, Pipe Man. Thanks again for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. We'll see you next time.
How well do you know your video game lovers?
Have you ever wondered how your video game bays stack up against all the other delectable digital dates?
I'm Genesis, the girl whose motto in life is love, laugh, tequila. And on Two Girls, One Ship, we analyze, rate, and review all that the world of video game romances has to offer.
And I'm Vervada, the hopeless romantic cat lady and lifelong gamer.
But you should know that our podcast centers on character and romance analysis and doesn't shy away from exploring the fun of physical connection.
Or from the deep emotional connections built between two characters, using specific in-game dialogue and the overall narrative journey. So join the Two Girls, One Ship shipsters, and remember,
beauty is in the eye of the controller.